see over her. All right, everyone. So, thank you. The Elsa came through and froze my video, so we're back. You know, this is kind of part of the reason I really can't stand Facebook and Facebook Live. You know, hi Frisco, hope you're well. Because just me and Facebook, we just don't seem to get along. So I have thought of moving myself to YouTube Live because me and Facebook, it just seems like we're always clashing, you know, and it's always on some dumb shit. Almost every week when I do this live, I need to like figure out a new way to finagle around with Facebook to come on the live, and I'm just like, Facebook, you're doing too much. It doesn't have to be that complicated, but apparently it does. So anyway, back to the original topic at hand. So because most people are so heavily addicted to, yeah, I know, right? That's how it is. They don't want you to speak facts. So because people are so heavily addicted to drama, nonsense, and bullshit, a lot of times they bring this into, it's very frequently found in the workplace. In fact, I would say you probably find it there. That's probably one of the most polluted places when it comes to like drama and nonsense and suffering and BS. Here's what I try to explain to everyone, but it seems like, you know, that addiction to the drama, hi Nick, is very, very high. When I used to work, okay, I don't go to work to make friends. If we end up friendly with each other, that's wonderful. More than likely, we will. Because I have a tendency to mind my business and I just don't really care about what people have going on for themselves. Okay? Oh, hey, Jonathan. Sorry to hear that. Hope you get better soon. I just don't really care. When I used to work in the medical field, basically, I'm here to collect my check, do my job, and go home. And y'all don't pay me enough to stress myself out outside of the time that I'm here. In fact, you don't pay me enough to stress myself out when I am here, so I won't. Like I always told everyone, you're gonna have to pay me extra. I need stress pay. If you want me to become stressed, I need pay for that. I need stress pay for that. Otherwise, you will not stress me out because I will not allow it. I will not allow it. Okay? If you're stressing me out, then I look at myself and I'm saying, what am I allowing going on here that is allowing me to stress out? And then I'm going to cut that bullshit right out. Okay? Because you as a person, you have a limited capacity for energy. Meaning, in the course of a day, you only have, okay, you only have so much time in a day and only so much energy you can run through your body in a day. When you stress, when you mind other people's business, when you spend time making judgment calls on people, all this are wastes of energy. When you worry, all of these are forms to waste energy. And most people, the reason they do not have the ability to create what they want is because 80 to 90% of their energy is getting wasted day to day. So it's the equivalent of like every day you get $100 and you want to buy a brand new car that costs 10 G's, $10,000, but every day you get $100 and every day you spend 80 of it on crap. that you throw away. Basically, you take $80 a day and you throw it in the garbage. It's going to take you forever saving only $20 a day to buy that $10,000 car. That's the equivalent. That's how I see energy. It's really simple. Energy is not, everybody always comes with the bullshit. Energy is unlimited. Of course, your capacity to channel unlimited energy is not unlimited. You can only do so much in 24 hours. Your body needs rest. Your body is a tool, a system. It's like an electrical outlet. It can only burn through so much energy without burning itself out. Okay? People take it personal when you don't want to be buddy-buddy at work because they don't have a life. They don't have a life. And what I mean by a life, I mean like a life that they enjoy, that they feel satisfied with, that they're peaceful with, etc. I'm not here to make friends. If I go to a place where I'm going to go work, I'm going to go do what I'm there to do. I'm going to go do what I'm there to do to the absolute best of my capacity because I'm not a mediocre person. So I don't do mediocre shit. Okay? But capacity is limited. And that's everyone. And one of the biggest struggles that a lot of spiritual people have is that they think that everyone has the same capacities. That's not true. They think that they think that all these certain things are natural. Everyone does not have the capacity to love. Everyone does not have the capacity to have trust. Everyone does not have the capacity to have compassion or faith. Okay? Buena Gemana. Yeah, you can increase your capacity with discipline. Most people never do. Right? Most people never do. Most people just, it's like how they say about a battery, right? If you're always burning the battery out, and you don't allow the battery to fully recharge, eventually the battery itself, even when you try to fully recharge it, won't recharge and won't hold the charge. So most people do not have all types of capacities that people just kind of take for granted, and they believe like everyone has that capacity. They have this belief like everyone has the capacity to love. So then when you see a person who actually does not have the capacity, you're like, why aren't they doing this? Why can't they do that? Why? It's because you're not truly accepting the total person. You're in love again with something that I mentioned earlier. You like their potential. And they may have a potential to have a capacity for love, but not everyone has the capacity. Okay? So when you assume that, that's a judgment. You put yourself in a position of disempowerment. Rather than when you get to know someone truly, accepting the totality of who they are, you will gain clarity to see what capacities they actually have, not the capacities that you have that you're throwing onto them. Yeah, exactly. Someone said here, I told my mom that one, as she had a jealousy issue too, and I told her your message. The most precious thing we have is time and energy. And the other person must be very powerful that they deserve something so precious of yours. That's absolutely true. And I tell this to all my students and mentees all the time. When you have someone who's a hater, who hates on you, who doesn't like you, who this, who that, When you give them so much time and energy, you're feeding your haters. You're feeding them the most precious thing you have. But this is here's an example of where people are addicted to drama. Because it could just be as easily as cutting them off, cutting them free of your mind, forgetting about them, forget that they ever existed. You usually lived a life before them, so continue to live that life, act as if they don't exist. However, most people can't do it that easily because it's really that simple. It really is, especially in this day and age. It's really that simple. But most people cannot do it because they're addicted to the drama, the suffering, the attention that they gain from being in misery, drama, and suffering. And since most people tend to rush to whoever is the most dramatic and the person who's suffering the most in order to go help, a lot of people see it without, not consciously, but subconsciously, they understand that there's a great gain for them to remain in victim mode, to remain stuck, to remain miserable, to remain in a drama or something that's not helping them. So most people will never let it go. There's too much to gain. And what it really speaks to on a deeper level is that that person, when you do that, it means you lack self-respect. And lots of people lack self-respect. Self-respect to me is something that's really high on that level of basic foundational needs that people need in their life. Most people lack self-respect. Going back even to the original topic where someone sent us the question like, is it good or bad to only see the good in people and to always see the good in people and not pay attention to the negative in people? To a certain degree, that indicates a lack of self-respect. It's a lack of self-respect because if you respect yourself, you're going to see both sides so that you can see really what you're dealing with. You're not going to put yourself in a position where you can get so severely like hit out of left field because you respect yourself to see the totality of what you're dealing with. But most people do not have that level of self-respect. And everything that I'm talking about, the society has not given you the tools to have. Okay? On the opposite hand, you have not tried to go get it. Society's not going to hand them to you. Okay? So you, in order to gain self-respect, you have to also then take some self-responsibility. And people hate responsibility. So you have to take some self-responsibility that yes, the world did not give it to you, but you also did not make the sacrifices or do whatever was needed for you to go find it for yourself. Okay? When someone is a child, when someone is not yet an adult, they can turn around and say, you know, the world has not given me this. I'm suffering because of the world. There comes a certain point in adulthood where you can no longer continue to simply blame the world. It's a cop-out. And it's a cop-out, and it's disrespectful to yourself. Because when you do so, you're saying you do not have the capacity to make any change for yourself in your life. When in reality you do, because the key word about your life is yours. It's your life. It's for you to make the efforts. It's for you to make the decisions of what you will tolerate, what you won't tolerate, what you're going to put up with, what you're not going to put up with, what's okay for you and what's not okay for you. It's one of those kind of like deep topics, but something that really, really, I've been around these things forever. Really. There's only certain pieces and parts of the mystical spiritual work that's going to help you get that. And most people out here that do spiritual work either A, do not have the knowledge, B, may not have the methodology, C, might not have it for themselves. And we have a saying in La Brujeria, you can't give what you don't got. So if you yourself are lacking it, you can't give it to your mentees and students. Many people in, as we call it, La Brujeria, okay, they never work on that portion. They don't want to because they're focused on the brujeria and the power, the power, the power, as we say, the power. And but that power means nothing without some self-respect, right? And if you don't have self-respect, okay, if you don't have self-respect, I promise you, you're going to lack respect for other people. And you're going to lack respect for your spirits and your guides and God and whoever else. Because you cannot respect nothing else if you can't even respect yourself. Blessings. You can't respect a higher force, a higher power, if you don't have that foundation of self-respect for yourself. Someone once told me this, okay? Someone once told me that a spiritual teacher told me, my madrina, nothing you do, nothing you choose will ever be right until you yourself get right. And that shit's true. You can't make right decisions until you yourself are right within yourself. Until you're right within yourself, you will not make good decisions. Some decisions you'll make and they won't create disaster. Some decisions you can make and they may have good results, but you won't be able to consistently make good decisions. Most people land in bad hands spiritually because they themselves aren't right. And since they aren't right, you know, they can't make good decisions. It kind of goes hand in hand. Self-respect is not, true self-respect cannot be twisted, okay? Meaning someone who says, I don't need anyone, has no self-respect. Someone who says that but truly tries to live by that has no self-respect. Because true self-respect says, the world is not an island. A lot of times when people think that they're talking about self-respect, actually what you're talking about is venting your anger, venting your emotions, your sadness, your this, your that. That's not self-respect. That's not self-respect. Because self-respect says, you know what? Sometimes I don't need nobody, and sometimes I do. Some shit I can't do by myself. I'm not no freaking electrician, although, by the way, I can do electrician shit. But that's because, you know, I'm Hispanic. We do a little bit of all construction. Okay? So I can do it, but I'm not no electrician. There's certain things I don't know. And it's okay to have somebody else do that because that's what they know. That's self-respect. Self-respect says I'm not an electrician. I know who I am. I'm a hungan. If you want a reading, you want some spiritual work, over here. Okay? You want me to hook you up to the city electric? No. I know who I am. That's self-respect. But you can't have self-respect until you know who you are. Okay? Self-respect is not going around being all angry. That's the common problem, and that's what I say where most spiritual teachers do not have the right formula, methodology, etc. I see it all the time. People come out like, I'm going to start speaking my truth. My truth. So basically, what you're telling me is you're going to go speak about all the lies that you constantly have in your head. Okay? Because if it's your truth, it's not the truth. Otherwise, it wouldn't be yours. It would be the truth. And no one has to say anything about the truth. It's self-evident. Okay? A lot of times people say, I'm going to start respecting myself more. And they mean that means being angry with everyone and basically being a jerk. Okay? That's not self-respect. Self-respect says, I'm strong no matter where I go. I don't need to treat people shitty. Even if they treat me shitty, I'm sorry that they're so miserable, but I'm not, and you can't make me miserable. There's nothing you can say or do to make me miserable. Nothing. That's self-respect. Self-respect says, the only person who can choose to make me miserable is me. Okay? So that's self-respect, not all this other humat majap bullshit, okay, that gets sold mainly by a lot of self-help people, okay, who are stuck in a very young science that all of y'all, lots of y'all have way too much trust in, which is called psychology. Psychology arose from the 50s, my people. It's not that old. Maybe we can even throw it back to the 30s. It's not that old. It's not even 100 years old. Okay? Who were the psychologists before that? Correct. The shamans, the spiritual workers. Okay? Okay? The shamans, the spiritual workers. That's why people just stay forevermore in therapies and never get anywhere. Basically, hi Amor. Basically they end up like after 5 years of therapy just as fucked up as when they walked in. 5 years of wasted time. And you know why they wasted that time? Because they had no self-respect. Because if they had self-respect, I'd be like, this shit ain't doing me. It ain't fixing me. It ain't working for me. I got to go. My time and my energy is precious. I need to find some other way that will work for me, that is providing me some result. Because I respect myself. And since I respect myself, I respect my time and energy. But most people don't have enough self-respect to even do that. It's a very slippery slope. Okay? Yeah. So that's exactly. The truth doesn't need defense to still be true. If you have to defend your truth is your opinion. It's your perspective, which means it's not true. You know, I saw a little meme earlier that I was like, "Oh yeah, that's right along my lines." Basically, you're it says the truth does not require your participation in order to exist. Bullshit does. That's why whenever someone comes in to defend their truth, it's got to go into an hour, half hour, 20-minute, 15-minute conversation because it's bullshit. And a lot of people don't like a lot of what I'm saying. Why? Because you've used this version of your truth to manipulate people. And some of us who have self-respect will not fall for it. Some of us who have self-respect will be like, all right, that's good for you, but I got to go because you're full of it. And I'm not staying where it stinks. But it requires a heavy, heavy hand of self-respect. Okay? It goes with a heavy, heavy hand of self-respect. And self-respect, if you have it, it's going to mean, guess what? There's a lot of motherfuckers you ain't going to be dealing with no more. It's gonna mean there's gonna be a lot of people who can't get on the plane with you, who can't get on the fucking ride with you, and you're gonna be like, you know what, you gotta get left behind because you're disrespectful. And me being around you is gonna cause me to start disrespecting myself. So self-respect, it means you pretty much, when you really find out about this world, when you really understand this world, and a lot of mystics, they understand it inside their being, but they don't understand it like intellectually, or whatever. When you really understand this world, you're gonna find yourself keeping to yourself an awful lot. You're gonna find yourself cutting off a lot of people. You're gonna find yourself not wanting to be bothered. And a lot of mystics say, you know, Papa, I find myself like this, that. Yeah, yeah. But guess what? As a mystic, okay, you gotta keep yourself in balance, which means even though you might not want to be around a whole bunch of people, you still gotta go and be outside. Because if you don't expose yourself to it, okay, you're gonna give yourself weak skin, and you're going to cross paths with it at some point or another. It's no total avoidance. No one here is gonna stop using Wi-Fi and move to the Himalayas. Let's be real, okay? Because I ain't doing it. I need my amenities. I need electric, running water, okay? Proper lavatory systems, okay? I need my amenities, okay? And so none of us is moving to the Himalayas. That being the case, okay? That being the case, that means that you can't totally remove yourself from it. Otherwise, when you have to deal with it, which you will have to do, you won't be able to. It'll be too much. It'll be too overwhelming. You won't be able to survive. You won't be able to shift, to move, to do what you have to do. Okay? So you do still have to continue to expose yourself to it, but be clear about what is what. Okay? Someone says, I keep my mouth shut to avoid conflict. Sometimes that's the right answer, sometimes that's the wrong answer. Sometimes conflict is needed. Sometimes the only way to peace is through war. In fact, peace and war go to hand in hand. So sometimes it is the right answer to just keep your mouth shut because the conflict itself is not worth it. It's not worth the energy expenditure. But sometimes it's worth it. Sometimes you're like, you know what? And sometimes it's still not worth it, and you're like, fuck it. I'm still going to waste my energy on this because I feel like it, because I have self-respect, and that's what I want to do with my energy. And I know it's a waste of the energy, but that's what I'm going to do. So then later on, when you're all tired, exhausted from having wasted your energy, you're like, well, that's my fault, therefore my responsibility. I took that choice, I made that move, and so therefore I can't blame it on anyone. Oh well, I'll regain my energy tomorrow. Sometimes that's the way you got to move. But that's part of that self-respect piece that's going to teach you how to move, A, and B, the spirit. Those two pieces teach you how to move and when to move and where to move, etc. So that's why having that divine connection is so very, very important. Okay? So I hope you guys all enjoyed our conversation here today. Many blessings to all of you. I'm probably going to be doing a Spanish live tomorrow sometime in the afternoon. So if you speak Spanish, come on in. If you don't, learn some Spanish. All my people that exclusively speak Spanish, all my people in DR, etc., have been constantly, you give all the lives to all the English speakers. Why, Papa? Why? So I'm like, okay, we're gonna get you guys Spanish speakers of regular lives. So if you see me here tomorrow, stop by and say hey. And many blessings to all of you. You guys are most welcome. All of you. Okay? Okay, you need to learn, um, as we say in Santo Domingo, you need to learn Dominicano. But really, you need, basically, you want to learn Caribbean Spanish, right? So Caribbean Spanish, Dominican Spanish, Puerto Rican Spanish, Spain Spanish, that works too. Spanglish, that works. Oh no. Well, learn the Spanish from Spain. It's close enough that you'll be able to know what we're talking about. All right. And of course, you're most welcome. Thank you for sending us the topic. It was a great topic. I really enjoyed covering it. And I'm not sure if you made it to the first half, Facebook froze on me, so we had to divide it up into two halves. So just in case you want to go ahead and check that out. All right. So, love to all of you. Have a great Monday. And, gracias a la misericordia. You're most welcome. Stay blessed. Have a good dinner and all that good stuff.